Hello everyone, welcome back to another LEGO Studio video, and you can already tell the audio didn't record again, so I'm just doing a voiceover. In this video, we're going to be exploring the world of LEGO trees. So we'll wait until I'm done talking. So so obviously that first one wasn't finished. These are my tests. So in this video, we'll be making an oak tree, which is the white one, a pine tree, a sort of small bush-like tree, and to finish it off, a palm tree. And these are all trees I'm going to use in hopefully a big LEGO city I make. So with this first tree, I should be starting off with the palm tree. And for trees in LEGO Studio, there is a specific section called the plant section. So if you just scroll down, you can find plant, which is below animal and above minifigure. And there's a lot of stuff. There's leaves, there are there are flowers. So for the palm tree, we're starting with this piece, which is sort of like an upside down cone. And there's another piece which you can stack onto it, which I'm doing now. And that's going to create the palm tree effect. So let me redo this error. So this is going to create a palm tree effect where the trunk sort of just goes up and then it has that upside down cone sort of shape. So now I'm just coloring this, make it like a brown or a light brown. I think I'm going to keep it as a brown. So the next piece we need is a stud. We're going to place 2 studs in that cone. And what this does is it creates a surface in which we can place another piece on top. So now that we have a stud, I think I'm changing this to, we're changing it to a light brown. So you can really use any color you want, like nougat, tan. Well, let's see what I'm changing it to. I am changing it to a light brown. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go down and find the bar section. Now in the bar section, if you scroll down, there is a piece called the antenna. So what the antenna does is it's sort of like a pole on which we can place different things. There are leaves that connect onto this pole, and that's actually why we're making it. So I'm just making it light brown here so it blends in with the tree. We'll see if I am doing, okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to find this bush piece, as you just saw in my practice palm tree. There is a plant prickly, that's an interesting name. So I'm going to place it onto the pole upside down because that's going to create the effect that most palm trees have at the top. So now, as you can see, I placed it, and now I'd say make it like definitely a tan because it's a good color to represent that tree. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is this is a step that you don't need, and I did remove this. I was going to add a Technic pin just to make it easier to connect, but I realized we're not in real life, so I can just place pieces onto each other and they'll stick. So remember that you don't need all steps in LEGO Studio because we're not connecting these pieces in real life. Okay, so we'll wait until I realize I should be removing the piece. So let's just give it a few seconds. Maybe play some music in the background. Alright, well, I guess I'm not removing it yet, but our next step is going to be one that we include. We're going to take a 2x2 plate, which has 4 different bars on the side. And what this is going to do is this is going to give us, what are they called? It's going to give us like rails in which we can place more leaves. So as you can see, we're placing it onto the bush, we're connecting it, so the pole goes through it. The antenna will go through it, and we have more connections for leaves. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking for the leaves, and what you can do is you can place them at the bottom, place them at the top. In real life, you can change the direction of it. I do try it in this video, but it doesn't work. So you can place it all 4 around, because normally that's what a palm tree is going to look like. So now that I have all 4 placed around, to add some details, you can stack leaves onto each other, which I find the most realistic, because these leaf pieces have a connection piece on the bottom, so you can connect them to other leaves or other bricks. So I'd say for palm trees, go like a medium lime color. Sometimes it's not realistic, but I think for Lego trees, a medium lime color is pretty good. So here's the part in which my practice test, it did work, but in the video it decided not to. I tried to put a leaf on the pole, but it started intersecting with all the other leaves. So we'll just give it a few seconds until I realize that I can't do it, because there was another piece I found that I used to make the palm tree. So we'll just wait until I realize that I can't use it. I'm just sort of fidgeting with everything here, so we'll see what happens. Alright, so it seems I've learned what I can and can't do. So as you can see, I'm placing a piece which has a stud on the top. Now, my thinking here was that using the stud, I would be able to stack more of the same pieces, because that is how the piece works. And because it's on a pole, I can place multiple. So as you can see, I'm placing those pieces and I'm sort of rotating them so I can put 3 or 4. I think 3 worked out well. So as you can see, don't also forget to connect the pieces. I had a bit of trouble doing that here, and you can see what happens. I think I'm gonna connect them. I did not. Okay, no. So I'm putting the first piece down onto the pole, and now I'm putting the second piece down and connecting it. Now with that second piece, there is a little bit of pole left, and to be honest, we don't need the pole, but with the pole we can add a third one. So with that, we have our 3 leaves at the top. Now if you zoom out on this is gonna look a little weird, like it did to me. I don't know if it's gonna look weird to you guys, but it definitely did to me. So what I'm going to do as a solution is, like I said before, I'm going to stack more leaves on top of each other. I think this is what had the best result. I think this was definitely better than the one I made while practicing. I like this a lot better. So as you can see, I'm just stacking these on top. And again, you can make these the same color. I would suggest, if you want, make the middle one a little darker. I didn't do that, but it's okay. It's your choice. Trees are supposed to just be randomly scattered. But that should be the end of the palm tree. So now that we have the palm tree, I'm going to take everything and I'm going to submodel it, create, and we're going to name it palm tree. Now, I'm doing this so we can use it for future references where I can copy and paste it. And now I'm just going to save this file. I'm going to name it palm tree. And we're good. I'm just going to put it in my LEGO Studio work folder, and that'll be a lot easier. Normally I do put the dates, as you can see, for the house, Audi, and double-decker bus, but for now I'm just going to put the name. So now our next one should be the bush. Alright, so for the bush, the main point here is that we're going to need a 1x1 brick that has studs all over it. This is for one specific reason. It's because we're going to be using a piece, which is the grass piece. We'll be using the second one that doesn't have a stud in the middle. And the thing about this is that it allows us to add pieces onto the little stems. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm just placing all of them separately because we're going to have to connect all of them in. So let me just do that. Alright, so now that I'm done with that, let me show you how we are going to make our sort of leaves, I guess you can say. So we're going to start by getting a stud, and we're going to use a special stud. We're going to use this stud that looks like a flower. Now, note that I didn't say at the start, all of these designs I am making are from YouTube videos I found. None of these are my actual ideas, but they're more so I am adding on to them to create these plants. So what you're going to do is, using the stud, we're going to add a leaf piece. Now, don't submodel it yet because it's better to add the colors first. I did that, I didn't remember, so I'm just going to undo it here. So Control Z, and then I'd say make it all different colors of green. Not sort of those lime colors. I'd say only use the dark green, green, and light green. And also don't forget to use the brown for the inside or the branches. So we're just going to create a submodel of this. And now the nice thing about this is that if you drag it over to one of the branches, it'll connect onto it. Sometimes you're going to have to rotate it because it might be facing the wrong way, or it's just not facing a good way to connect onto it. So this is really not, there's not much I can really say about this. I guess all we have to do is speed it up. now that I'm done with that, let's talk about how we're going to fill in the space. So, as you can see, each leaf piece has 3 branches. My opinion, I'd say using the directions of the leaves, make all the leaves face inward. So, it's going to look sort of like, I guess you could say it's going to look like a triangle of leaves. In my opinion, that's the best way to do it. Or you can do it however you want, but I think personally making it sort of like a triangle of just leaves is really the easiest way. So I'm just going to finish doing these leaves, and then we'll get sort of like there's gonna be a lot of space in the middle, but I'm not worried about that because I have a good solution for that. So you can do the same to the top. I'd say for the top, if you want, make it a little more different, but I think I just made it the same. So let's see. Alright, so now that we have all of those facing inwards, the next thing I'm going to do is fill in the space outside or inside, whatever you'd like to call it. One thing we can do, which I found nice, is you can take your leaf and you can drag it over to behind the stem and you can connect it, which I really found is really neat. That's what I'm doing. I'd say try to be space efficient, so try to fill in all the spaces, but if you want, like normal plants, you don't always have to fill in every single space. You can leave some space open. It's your choice. Don't forget to color it. You can make it whatever color you want. You can make it dark, you can make it light. There's a lot of variations of plants. It's your choice. Alright, so it seems that I'm almost done. I might just be redoing some colors, or maybe I am done. The last thing you want to do is get a round 1x1 brick, and we're going to take the one that's closed, so there's no space in the middle. We're going to take that and we're going to use that as a trunk. So now with that, you have your bush. So we're going to submodel it. We're going to call it bush. And all we have to do now is save it. And we're going to name it bush. So now, our next tree is going to be the pine tree. So we're going to open a new file. Let me open. Okay, now that we have a new file, it's time to get started with the pine tree. Alright, so now let's start our tree. Our pine tree has the same, I guess you can say, method, just like we did for the bush. We're stacking these 1x1 bricks that have studs all over them on top of each other. So what we're doing here is I'm going to take every other stud and I'm going to basically just rotate it. I'd say rotate it 45 degrees. Also know that if you put your cursor on the blue circle, it lines up and you can do it by fives. So now that we have this sort of design, I'm going to change the color in the video to make it obviously the trunk, and then I'm going to submodel it because that's obviously the trunk. Alright, so basically what we're doing in the pine tree is we're going to take a different version of the grass we used. This one has a stud in the middle, and we're going to use it because using that stud in the middle, we can stack multiple of these grass pieces on top of each other, which is going to make our sort of pine tree effect. So all I'm doing here is stacking it, and then this is the part I definitely think you should do while making the pine tree. Take all four of your plants and make a submodel of it. So I'm calling it layer 1 because there's going to be multiple layers. I'm cloning it that way just by dragging on to the branch or the trunk. I can place it. And the reason why I named it layer 1 was because I am going to make multiple layers of this. So for example, let me also take all of the layer 1s and we're gonna submodel it into, I named it all of layer 1s. So here, all of layer 1s, okay. And now we can get on to the second layer, where I'm going to do something special. For the second layer, I'm not going to put the layer on the top. This is going to make the cone effect, where every layer we forget to place one of the top layers, so that way it's going to make the cone shape. So really from here on, there's in the actual video, I did speed this up. So once we're done with layer 2, this is another speed up section of just placing different layers of this pine tree. So you can see I just did one on the top, and now I'm going to remove it. So we're starting to get that pine effect. So for this pine tree, I decided to go with dark green for the inner leaves, I guess is what you could say. Sort of a darker color, and I'm going to get lighter as we go. So with that, let's get the speed up going. Alright, so with that, I am done with the pine tree. So as you can see, I use the same technique over and over. So this is the palm tree, this is the bush, and this is the pine tree. So now we have 3 of our trees done. I'm gonna save it, and then we can finish this video off with the oak tree. The oak tree is probably my favorite out of all of them because of how much you can design it yourself, and you'll see what I mean by that in a few seconds. Alright, so now we're going to be starting the oak tree. So for the oak tree, what we're going to start with is just a simple 2x2 brick. So this is the middle. And around the 2x2 brick, we're going to be placing the slope piece. So for post-editing, since I am voicing over, I just realized you can use the 2x2 slope, but I took my time using the 1x2. Next, you're going to want 2 1x4 bricks in the middle, accompanied by 2 1x2 bricks. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use the 1x2 bricks, and we're going to make sort of like a windmill pattern, I guess you can say. So it starts in the middle and it goes towards one direction. You should end up with 1 brick space when you're doing this. And this is for one reason. This is because we're going to be adding an arch. So if you type in 1x5x4, you'll get the 1x5x4 arch, which we will be using just to make the branches of the tree. So as you can see, I'm just placing it around. This is the branches of the tree. And now the next thing we have to do is fill in the middle. So I'm going to get another 2x2 brick. And then the rest we're going to fill up with 1x2 bricks. And we can keep the 1x2 bricks to fill up the next layer. So looking at the pattern, just follow what I'm doing. Making another fan shape in the middle. Fan, pinwheel, whatever you want to call it, to be honest. So this makes the really big bottom trunk of our oak tree. So now we're going to make the bigger trunk by using a 1x3x3 arch. Now the 1x3x3 arch you can do in any direction. As you can see, I'm doing 1 block away from what I did for the first few branches. And then you're going to put a 2x2 brick in the middle just to fill up the space. Now what you can do is actually you can just clone this and put it on top, since this will be our last branch. So as you can see, we have our branch shape here. I think, yeah, we're just going to make the trunk probably, or we're changing the color. Okay. So make it like a brown color, light brown, whatever you want. I just made it brown. And now this is the fun part where we're going to go to leaves. And there are 2 specific leaves we're going to use. So there's a big leaf. And if you scroll a little bit up, there's a small leaf. So both of these leaves have studs everywhere, so you can sort of just connect them to each other. I'm going to take the ends of each branch and place these 4 leaves on them. And then from there, you can use the big leaves to whatever extent you want. You can place them wherever you want, as you can see, which is what I'm doing. This part is really just up to you, because trees are obviously random. The leaves are going to be scattered everywhere. So this is something of your imagination. This is something you're going to do. So I mean, there's not much to say. Once I'm done with the first layer, we can speed this video up. So as you can see, you can use the small leaves too. I'm using the big leaves. And don't forget, you can also rotate the leaves to whatever extent, because that's also how trees are just randomized. So as you can see, I'm turning a lot, making sure the space also gets filled with these, because I do want to fill in a lot of space when I'm doing this. So as you can see, I'm placing another small leaf in a few different places. There's another one. So with that small leaf, now I'm going to color. So like I did for the past few, I think one important thing is making sure that your leaves are not all the same color. If you have some differentiation, if you have some different colors in your leaves, it's gonna look a lot better. So now that we're on to the second layer of leaves, we'll start speeding up. Alright, so it's time for some final revisions. So in the original video I took this from, what they did was they decided to put a stud in the middle of the 2x2 brick that was on the top. This way, what you could do was you can take one of the big leaves, and using the middle stud of the big leaf, you can put it on, sort of rotate it if you want, you can stack it, you can add more onto it. This is supposed to just be a finishing touch basically to the tree. So you can add onto it. You can really do whatever you want just to make the tree stand out more. I'm hoping I finish this part soon, because there is one more step that I forgot to do, so I have to redo that. So I'm hoping I get to that part. Basically, what I do next is, once I'm done stacking all these leaves, so as you can see, I'm putting the leaves on the end. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get another 1x1 brick, but it's not a brick, sorry. I'm gonna get a 1x1 what is it called? I don't know what it's called. 1x1 cylinder, I guess you can say. And I'm gonna stack that into the middle and then just add my final leaves. So I was just watching the original video, making sure I was doing it right. So now I'm just turning the leaves. So now I can put that round 1x1 brick in the middle. This one, it doesn't matter which brick you use. I'd say just use the normal. Now, in the plants, I'm just gonna get that big leaf again. And with that big leaf, I'm going to put it into the middle, rotate it, do whatever I need to. So, there it is. And, I mean, there's not much else to do, really, with an oak tree. The main point is just to stack up leaves in random directions, random places. So, once I'm done, I should be just coloring it now. And once I'm done coloring, the only thing left to do is submodel this. So let's see if I do that. I should submodel it next. One thing I did want to say, like you see in the video, you can add anything else to your trees. There are a lot of different connection pieces LEGO uses for things like this. Normally they're used for deep sea environments, but you can also use some of them for trees because they're vines. And if you're making like a jungle, then vines are probably a really good idea for those type of places. So as you can see, I'm just submodeling this and the final looks. So this is the palm tree, this is the small bush, this is the pine tree, and then the oak tree which we just made. So there's not much else to say. There's not much else to say. I don't know if I'm saying anything in the original video, but really that's all. Trees are normally up to the user or the maker's imagination, so do not completely just use what I'm doing. Make your own. That's what I did. So I looked at the video and I used that video to make my own. So that's really all I can say. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.